All right. Well, it's been a little while since I got anything done. Sorry about that. But what we're looking at right now is the base of the diorama. You can see the hotel's back. The hotel's back there in the background. And I've had people ask me what I use for my pavement, and it's this stuff right here. You can see I don't have a whole lot of it left. But like I said before, I have the gray, and the gray's a little thinner, not as easy to work with, but you can kind of see the texture in it. But it's really, really super thin vinyl. I think it was used for like upholstering the outside of like speaker cabinets and stuff like that. That kind of stuff. I don't think it was kind of vinyl that it was meant to sit on. It was meant to add, maybe a little protection to an outside of a PA speaker or something like that. That's about the closest thing I could think of. But that's all I got. I can't get any more, unfortunately, unless I find get some supply, upholstery supply place or something like that. I don't know. But so this is where we're at right now. I got the curbs painted. I got all the holes drilled for the lights, the street lights, and the parking lot lights. Got the road down, got the marks. I go half an inch, or excuse me, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches is how I do that. Just in case anybody's wondering. And how I make my road stripes is with a silver Sharpie. This is a metallic one. It doesn't really matter which one you use. I had one that wasn't metallic and it ran out, so I grabbed this one, and it's about the same. It's just a little shinier, that's all. And one of the reasons why I use the silver is that when you look at white markings on the road, they kind of turn kind of a grayish color after a while. And it's just easier to use the marker. So we got that laid down. Got the parking lot lines laid down. Then I took a black Sharpie after I laid down those lines. And then I put in different cracks and patches. You kind of see some of the cracks on there. And when you do it, it's going to look really dark and it's going to look really shiny, and you're going to wonder what you're doing. But trust me, it'll fade. Especially once you put the weathering powder over the top of it, it'll fade, knock it down quite a bit. And so the little smudges there, the oil smudges where cars park, pretty common in the days when cars weren't built with such tight tolerances that they are now. So, but anyways, how I got the oil stains, dots, and now these will fade. They look kind of, I just did this a few minutes ago, so this stuff will fade out a little bit as it dries. And what I did is I used my ink wash, which is Speedball Super Black India ink. And you add just a little bit of that to some alcohol, and you end up with ink wash. Pretty simple stuff. So that's how I did with the parking lot. Oil stains here and there. Went up and down the road a bit. Put some just random oil stains in. Then we went over with the weathering powder. I use Monroe models. So I went over it with Dusty Brown and the two different grays, the medium and the dark gray that I have. And when you look at old asphalt, it's not really black. It's kind of like a light gray to a kind of a brownish gray as it ages. So I laid down the different powders. Try to make it look like cars are going through a certain area more than others. And I use, to get all this faded in there together, you can see that kind of knocked some of the shine. See, I kind of knocked that one right out. See? So if it still looks a little too shiny for you later, if these don't dry enough, you can always go over with a little powder. The powder doesn't dry, so if you powder something and you touch it later, you're going to get powder on your hands. It does kind of stick more or less permanently to whatever you do. It's hard to get off. If you clear coat it, a lot of times it'll take the weathering powder off, kind of. It'll still be there, but it won't be as evident or as visible as it would have been if you didn't clear coat it. So I'm not going to clear coat this. I mean, really, in reality, I'm the only person that's going to be handling this, unless I have a helper or something like that, help me move stuff around. But the general public is not going to be touching this. So I'm fine with getting a little dust on my hands. That's not a big deal. So I went over it with the different powders, okay? And then when you look at these old roads, you always see, when you look into pictures of old highways and old streets, they always are darker in the middle. And that's because all these cars and trucks leaked oil. And so you end up with the darker strips down the middle. And I wanted to reflect that. And it's hard to do with the powder alone. So what I did is I took a piece of paper towel and just ran it down and exposed some of the black underneath. So it's a little more evident. Now, we can kind of compare here. This is what the black looks like. This is where the motel's going, so it doesn't really matter that that it's black. But you can see how kind of monochromatic that is. And then you look down here and you can see how it's weathered. And even as we're talking, these black oil patches are starting to lighten up. Kind of see here. Some of those aren't so. But you know, like I said, you know, if they're too dark for you, you can just kind of throw a little powder at them. And just kind of tamp them down a little bit. Just take some of the edge off of them. So this is where I'm at with it. I'm going to be putting the lights in. Is going to be the next step, I think. Then after that, I'm going to put the grass in. And the way I'm going to do the grass is the way I was taught by Mark Vicker. And I'm going to put wet paint on, and then put my grass on it. Get it, you know, down in there so it sticks. And then mist it with some diluted PVA or scenic cement, as they would call it. And I do have a video to show how to make your own scenic cement, so you don't have to spend $12 for a little bit of bottle at your hobby shop. You can buy some Mod Podge and a little bit of a bottle of alcohol, which you probably already have around your house, and you can make as much as you want. And so look up that video. It's back in the back catalog there. If you got any questions, always feel free to ask. So as far as the slot car stuff goes with the drag strip, the DSRA, I offered to sell the strip to the guy that built the cars. to Dale Jones. Um, I'm offering it. I offered to sell him the entire strip with everything all worked out, including the rights to DSRA, and he's going to think about it right now. I told him to take some time, you know. But I mean, the drag strip is ready to go. I mean, you know, I did all the hard work, really. You know, integrating the timing system, getting everything working properly. Uh, you know, you saw the videos. A lot of you have the amount of work that it took to dial in everything, get it working properly. So you know, I got the concept ready to go. So if Dale doesn't want to buy the drag strip, I'd be open to sell it to someone else. So if anybody, any of you subscribers or anybody else might be interested in buying a functional 1/64 scale drag strip, let me know. Put it down in the comments in case my friend has rights of first refusal. So if he decides he doesn't want it, perhaps somebody else does. But you know, I just feel that I need to move on. I just what a mess, right? I just need to move on. I worked a year and a half on this project, and between me and my wife, we just don't have the energy. It's just so much work to get a video of drag racing done, and I still hope to get that one video out just to show you what we did. But it was a huge amount of work, and we just don't have that amount of energy. Somebody younger, you know, it's a turnkey thing. You could buy the strip and start your own racing channel just like that. Wham bam, you know, race down the strip, man. So anyway, so if anybody is interested in it, drop me a line, let me know, and you know, if the deal falls through, I may be contacting you. In the meantime, as far as the diorama goes, I'm going to keep rocking on with it and put out regular videos. When I have something, I'm going to put it out. I'm not worried about the darn algorithm anymore, and I'm not worried about monetization anymore. Screw that. Excuse my language. It just, you know, it's a hamster wheel. It really is. You know, they put that little bit of, YouTube puts that little bit of carrot out there, and they expect you to turn that wheel to make that little bit of money that they give you. That's if they, you know, if you can fight the algorithm to even monetize. And I have almost 400 videos done. You know, if I was going to monetize by, you know, I would have done it by now, you know. But, you know, unfortunately, the algorithms are not working for me. And that, I'm kind of a niche. You know, you have to really like stuff from the 50s and 60s and 70s to get into it. And, you know, when I look at my audience breakdown, most of my audience is between like 34 and 60. So I'm not really reaching the young people much. So, you know, it's just unneeded stress. I just want to build and enjoy my hobby. I'm just going to keep doing that, and you know, I have my goal of getting Acme City done, and you guys are going to follow me along the way. I'm still going to put out videos, you know, but I'm not doing it for monetization anymore. I'm going back to my original mission, and my original mission was to show people how to do it, teach people how to do what I do, and help along the hobby, and I think I've done that quite a bit, because now I see it. I'm seeing people that are copying what I do to some extent. Not as large, and they tend to use more like 3D printed buildings, you know. But you know, for you guys and for me, I'm just going to keep going. So, anyways, I'm going to keep rambling for a little bit, so I'm going to get off here, and we will see you guys soon.